I'd like to welcome everyone to the State of the County Address. My name is Tracy Sisson-Phillips. I'm the CEO of the Hueneme Chamber of Commerce, and we're so pleased that you were able to join us here this morning. Wanted to take an opportunity to introduce a few people in the room with us today. From the City of Port Hueneme, Mayor Will Berg. And I know I saw you earlier, Mayor Pro Tem Lauren Hernandez. Councilmember Sylvia Munoz-Schneider. Councilmember Rich Rollins. Former Mayor of the City of Port Hueneme, Mr. Tony Vellante. Former Mayor Orvie Carpenter. My first time getting to say this one out loud, former Mayor John Sharkey. Former Mayor Pro Tem Jim Daniels. And that was 50% of the room. Okay. But I will actually tell you, because I haven't been here in a while, so this is kind of a treat for me too. When I first started with the chamber, going around and meeting other chambers and taking some conferences out up at the state level, conversation of does your city support your chamber comes up quite a bit, and I'm actually quite surprised at the number of city or chambers that say they don't have good support from their city. So the testament that we have 4 out of 5 current city council members and almost all of, I do believe a good portion of the former mayors and mayor pro tems in our city still in the city and still supporting the chamber. I'm blessed beyond measure for all of you that continue to support, so thank you very much. Also from the City of Port Hueneme, City Manager Rob Butler, Police Chief Andrew Salinas. And since you did not come here to hear me speak entirely, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Supervisor Kelly Long, let her introduce her staff, and give you the real meat and potatoes of why everyone is here today to hear what's up with the county.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to first say thank you. Thank you for being a part of the chamber. Thank you for giving back to your community, and thank you for being here today. So, I'm here representing the county today. I've been in this position for 2 years and want to thank anyone who voted for me, because this has been the best job I think I've ever had, actually. The people that we have in Ventura County are just amazing. I'd like to say thank you to everyone who has helped us in all of our disasters. I only know disasters. My first year on was the Thomas Fire. Second year has been the Woolsey Fire, the Hill Fire, and the Borderline shooting. So we're hoping that this year will be a year of healing and just a huge outpour of love for everybody who has supported our search and rescue. Jeff Dye, who just passed away, helping those out. It seems that our community is always stepping up to help one another and not really putting themselves first. And that's a special group to be with. So I just wanted to say thank you very much for that. All right. So here is our beautiful slide. What do you want me to do, Matt? Okay. So you guys all know Matt Guthrie right here. He is our staff that covers Port Hueneme, part of the Navy base, Southeast Oxnard, Camarillo. And then we have Manny Maharas, who is our other staffer, who does Santa Paula, Fillmore, Piru, and East Lockwood Valley. So we have a very large area in our district, 1,000 square miles of beautiful landscape. Then we also have Brian Miller, who's in the back. He is our chief of staff. And then we have Nancy. If everyone knows Nancy, she's an amazing gatekeeper, assistant, just a wonderful person in our office to make sure that we're all going in the right direction. So we have some staff in our board, our office, and they do a great job. There is 5 supervisors. If anyone doesn't know, there are 5 supervisors elected for each of their districts. We have a population of over 857,000 people in our county. And the estimated median is $78,000. just giving you some of this information because we look at this to then understand what programs we can do, how many people we have to serve, and so forth. Go ahead. All right, now, County of Ventura, though we don't want to be, we are the second largest employer. We also have, the Navy base is extremely large, and it is very important to our economy here, and that we don't want to forget them. We have a $1 billion expenditure, we have a $1.3 billion payroll, and the money that we have, you want to hit it? We have 23,000 jobs. Our organization structure, when I go out and talk to people, it's what does the supervisor do? So I wanted to give you a little bit, it's really fine print, and you can go online to our ventura.org to really look at this. But we have over 25 different departments. We have our board of supervisor, county council, our county executive officer, who's Mike Powers. Most of you know him. We also have 6 elected officials, also not in the board of supervisors. We do everything from area agency on aging to Department of Airports, farm and home advisory, the libraries. You have one of those here. Beautiful, beautiful library. Okay, highlights and budget data. So we have a $2.24 billion budget. And you might think that's a lot of money, but with 25 different programs, it doesn't go as far as we would like it. However, we're very cost effective. We try to streamline, we have a Six Sigma, and really look at the processes to ensure that the money that we're receiving is spent the best way possible for our communities. Okay. Then we're also, budget highlights, what do we look for? Investments in technology, right? We know how that if you streamline your technology, you can get better products and better services for our community. Everyone's always talking about workers' compensation, liability, pensions, and so forth. We're also preparing for economic downturn. We can only peak so high in the county versus we're going to have to understand that there will be some lulls at some time. So we want to make sure that we have a reserve to protect and be able to provide the services ongoing. Another item we have, and many of you know that, and we were just talking about it, was homeless shelters. And what projects we have with Oxnard and also with Ventura and other different cities in the area, which are continuing of care group, and putting what we can do for homeless in each of our areas. All right, flash this one. I'm not going to hit every single slide because I think that would be crazy for you. I just want to see the commitment to our county is that we have an unfunded balance farm, and back in 2002 we were deficit. We didn't have any savings at all, and our board is very committed to ensuring that we get up. Our goal is 15. We're right now at 13. So trying to create those reserves without dropping services is really something that we've been focused on. All right, so highlights. Everyone's heard of Santa Paula fire. Was merged with Ventura County right after the Thomas fire. It's a great partnership to make sure that we're providing the services that they need for their community. We've also have a mental health crisis team, RISE. We're expanding that for the traditional aged youth. We have, what else we have? We have Ventura County Medical Center. If you've ever been to the new wing of the hospital, it is spectacular. Robotics, just everything service-wise for our community. And we've also hired a Huron, which is a consultant to look at all the processes. If you hear in the news, there are some hospitals that are not balance friendly. And so Huron is going through and making sure all of our processes are correct, making sure we're getting all of our billing correct, because we have whole person care. We have different programs that are being funded from the state and the federal level, and we need to make sure we're doing it exactly how they need to do, and then also provide the services for our community. So this is generally how our funds are budgeted. These are some others for our Administration of Justice, Human and Health Services, General Government. And if anyone's seen in the news, we have Governor Newsom is changing some of our justice programs for the youth and putting that into mental health, behavioral health. So we're working on that on a state level to figure out what the best way is to do it, and we're working on that. All right, we have some very positives in the county. We have a stable property tax. Thank you to the state for providing backfill for our disasters. What that means is that the state is helping us support as homes get rebuilt, the property backfill. We are training our managers on the budgets. We've got the hospital. We're also really aggressive on grants. There's lots of grants that are put out through the state and the federal to get more money in so we can provide one-time services, buildings and infrastructure and so forth. So we're doing that. And we're really changed to the data-driven. If anyone knows anything, all the conferences and so forth is all about data-driven. If you know your data, then you can solve the problems better. Instead of just saying, hey, I have an idea and going out for it, let's back it up with data and understand what the needs of the community are so we can do it better. All right, keep going. All right, so again, a service excellence program that was started to really train our managers. That's a really big issue. Making sure that our middle managers, our beginning managers get built up so that they could be the leaders of tomorrow. And we have a great program on that. We've actually had Matt went to one of our programs. We have Mandy's another one. We're continually educating our staff so that they can be better prepared for the jobs coming up. Cool. All right. One big thing that we do is labor relations, contracts, and making sure that those are good for both. You never want to go into any of the labor contracts one-sided. It's a team effort, so really trying to make sure we get the best for it. One of the labor contracts was IHSS, and that was this is still a big issue. We're trying to get the support of the state to really understand that program. I think that it was underfunded, and so we're trying to get the funds there so that we can get that program going. Continuing. All right, our general fund is really good. We're just keep going. Mine had a lot of slides in this. Okay, keep going. Okay, challenges. So again, IHSS is one of our challenges for the state. They said they only fund it for 2 years, and then we'll see from there. So we have a working group that Mike Powers is on, our CEO. We know what the hospitals are, we know certain things, so we're helping on that and what the costs are to the county. There's also payment delays, deferred. You think you're going to get the money today, but it doesn't get there for 4 months. Public safety or realignment, we're watching that. That's actually going to be on the ballot, is for the bail reform. We have SB1, the road repair. That's what we're looking at now because Governor Newsom actually put out in his budget that he'd like to tie housing with your transportation funds. So that's an interesting concept. Many cities aren't able to build because either water or space or density. And so if that's the case, then you don't get your transportation money. That's a question. And so we're really looking at that. Also, the cash flow for VCMC with all the new changes in the wings and so forth, getting that back up. Pension costs, stormwater permits. It might sound really easy, but it's not when you're talking about people's lands and where to go and what grants and the ecosystem. You have your environmental issues as well. Go ahead. We also have our mental health unit at the Todd Road Jail. As we know, behavioral health is a big issue, mental health, with many of those that are in prison, and how do we help them? So what we've done is we're building a 60-bed unit out at Todd Road. What else? Well, our new library, East Ventura at Hill Street. They have a really cool program that's been top of the nation, in which you can go to your library in off hours and get in, check out your book. It's pretty cool. And we're streamlining that to see what works and what doesn't. so that we could possibly do that at other libraries. Because the thing we need to do is make sure that people are getting their education, getting their reading, because we know that that helps with our community. All right, we have a new design construction on fire stations. We have our harbor. We're really working on our harbor. I think that'll be a big draw for people to come into this area, is to clean up our harbor and really excel on that. We're also helping, it's not on here, but with the port, trying to help them with their green initiatives, making sure they're getting the needs and support that they want as well. Go. We've talked a lot about that. This, as I was talking about the port, we are trying to work with the city of Oxnard as to getting an agreement on what the Fisherman's Wharf is going to be. It's a 15-year process. It's been decided a long time ago. We're still dealing with it. But we also have some new hotels and stuff coming in and restaurants that we're hoping that will boom the economy in this area. Keep going. Repurposing projects, we're always looking at that. So budget comparison, keep going. Employees, keep going. Okay, so our scope of services, we do have our social services, which is extremely important. Also CalWorks, Job and Career Centers, trying to figure out federally to get that money. And so making sure that everyone gets the education they need and the certificates they need to have those jobs. Safety, our 2 jails, crime lab, air unit, unfortunately they've been used a lot lately. We actually, just so you know, we get Ventura, Los Angeles County, and also Santa Barbara County. We have really a great partnership, so when we have services that are maxed, that come in and actually support us. Healthcare, 2 hospitals, over 80 clinics, primary specialty. And this is a big one because this is a lot of funding. And as you can see, our trends of how you treat people are different. So is it outpatient surgery? Is it going to urgent clinics versus just rushing to the old-fashioned go to the emergency room? So we're really looking at that and cutting edge of where to go. We're going to do a 5-year plan on that. Keep going, those are all the clinics that we have. Keep going. Public safety, by services. So what this means is that these are items that Ventura County does, and then we also have our police here for Hueneme. Okay, so we have our public works. They're really working hard with all the storms and everything. Everyone's seen is trying to clear out all those debris basins. Anything just in one area by Santa Paula, there's like 22 spots in which we have to make sure are clean for the safety of our community. Our sanitation districts, we also know stormwater facilities that need help, and so we're trying to support the City of Oxnard with that. I know that's a big issue for Port Hueneme. Though it's not in our jurisdiction, we're trying to support as much as we can with that. Permitting, IT, libraries, our 2 airports, harbor, animal services. Just so we know, we are still looking for animal services director, and then we're also doing the Department of Airports director. So those are 2 spots that we're looking for in our facility. All right. So, you know, these are so many different focus issues that are on the state and federal level, but hit us locally. We are representative on the state and also for the federal, for our Association of Counties. And so we're either talking about energy, investment in workforce, opioid abuse, homelessness, bail reform. So just hot items that we're working on in the county for all of our cities and communities. Homelessness is a huge issue. We're very supported by our state and federal on our homelessness with the continuum of care. And so we are trying to use our funds as best as possible to partner with cities to ensure that we're taking care of the homeless and the way we're supposed to. Keep going. Okay, whole person care project. This is federally funded, and we're expanding this out. And what we're doing is, the key is getting health workers out in the field. That's really important. When people are in trouble, they don't come into your office, right? It's better to go out to the community. And so really supporting that program is going to be great. Keep going. public safety alignment. We have our two props that went past, and so we have to deal with those situations. Felonies going to misdemeanors being, it's okay, go ahead. You can just go back home. That helps the community, right? I was in a conversation that shocked me that said, well, bail reform, if we did a bail reform, we just let them out without bail, right? And if they don't come to court, we'll just get them the next time. I was a little shocked by that. It's okay, maybe we need to rethink this a little bit. Because we really do want our community safe. And we don't want we don't want people doing bad things. So how do we change that mentality, I think is really what we're trying to figure out. Juvenile justice system, that is, our county, I believe, is doing a great job with our after-school programs, with our TAG. We've really stepped it up in this county to have a whole team of nurses and physicians and so forth to figure out what is the needs of the juveniles and how do we stop that cycle from going on. Because what we're trying to do is get them back on track so that they'll have a successful life. Okay, aging trend. I'm very jealous of these people. They're having a wonderful time right now. We've been going on the county, a lot of retirement parties, and with that comes a lot of knowledge that is leaving our county, but it's also a lot of possibilities for new people to step up into the area. And if anyone tries to retire from Ventura County, you'll know that we do try to get you back from time to time. We've had that happen a couple times. Go ahead. All right, general plan. I need everyone to pay attention to the general plan. What that is our guidelines for the county for the next 20 years. That is huge. What are we going to be working on for the next 20 years? And so what I'd like to ask is, how does that affect all of you? How does it affect Fort Hueneme? Are we doing what we need to do for you? Where it stands for land use, where it stands for environmental issues. We were just talking coastal sea. We have a lot of issues with coastal sea level rise and so forth. How does that help you? We also have the dredging. Dredging is extremely important to ensure that the beaches get back to Fort Hueneme. It's a cycle, but it gets stopped. It gets clogged and we have to pump it every 2 days, or every 2 years. So luckily, just to let you know, with Brownlee, Congresswoman Brownlee, it's been great because we've worked with the director of the harbor and then also with her office to ensure that we have the federal funds to make sure that we can get it dredged properly. I talked it out. Okay. Maybe I'll just use my outside voice. Okay, so I just ask, when you see messages about it, if you can't come to our meetings, email us. Let us know what your industry thinks. Let us know what your city thinks on the general plan. It's better for us to have your voice heard. Whether it's a yes or a no, we need engagement. We need public engagement on this. Okay, so again, and what that does is transparency, communication. So if you notice, we have our PIOs, our public information officers. We are really trying to communicate to our community both in English and in Spanish and any other language. We're trying to just fit the needs of the community, because if we get that information out, maybe they'll need our services or they won't. Go ahead. All right. Groundwater Sustainability Act. This is with a SB, I forget. It basically is the Department of Water Resources stating that we need to manage our groundwater better. And so they mandated that we put actual basins together and we manage our water. So one item for you all would be the Fox Canyon. That was mandated to be done. But what does it do for your economy here? What does it do for the farm workers? What does it do for your community to get water? So we're always looking at these issues. And again, we did our first economic vitality plan, which was great. We actually focused on business. If you notice the last 4 years, unfortunately with changes, we've had basically about a zero economy increase. And what does that do for your city, right? What does that do for the county if it's a zero? And it would have been lost even bigger from jobs from Amgen, our berries, our farmers, There's a lot of rules and regulations that are, as you know, forming that some businesses choose not to be here. It's easier to go somewhere else than to do business here. So the question is what can we do to really promote vitality of our economy? And what can we do to streamline with the port, streamline with the Navy base, industries that we can really get growing. Right now, we changed from a manufacturing industry for Ventura County to a services industry. And services industries tend to be less money per person on jobs than manufacturing. So how did we switch? Is it good? Is it bad? Where do we want to be? Those are the things that we're looking at. So that's with our economy. Energy, as you know, energy is really, really key. We have a regional energy alliance. We're trying to put electric charging stations in places. How do we roll more electricity out if we have more people? So we've also joined the Regional Energy Network. There's been a lot of questions with the CCA for people, and so this team is working with them to ensure that people have the communication. So everyone can pick if they want to be with SCE or if they want a 36%, 50, or 100%, depending on each person's need. So there's numbers that they can call. All right, so summary. Keep going. That's it? Awesome. Okay, they told me 47 slides. I'm like, I'm gonna bore you to death. I touched on just a couple of things. But we have 25 different departments. And then we also have new rules and regulations that are coming out already. We have ordinances that are coming out. We have the wildlife corridor that's coming out. We just did a rooster ordinance, which was really good, so that we don't have rooster fights and so forth that cause all sorts of different other things. We have, just so you know, this AAA long-term credit rating is fantastic. It really helps us out a lot when we're managing money and so forth. But the county is always, even though we have $2.3 billion of money, we're always looking to be, how effective are we? How can we partner with the cities? How can we partner with our ports and our state and our federal to ensure we're doing the best for our community? So when I talk to Port Hueneme, it's how can we help you? Is it roads? Is it human services? Is it help with water? I know we're trying to help with smell, even though it's not in our jurisdiction, but if there's a company that's got a smell, what can we do to partner with you? Grant Tiger funding, certain different things. Those are things that we want to do. So I know Matt's here all the time. I want to make sure that everyone knows that you're free to contact me. I try to get out as much as I possibly can because I think that's where we have our good conversations. So if you have anything that is really in particular you want to talk to, call me, grab Matt, whatever you want. But the county's doing great. I'm really proud to be a part of the team. We have really good staff there that care. And I think we can definitely keep on going. So I get told from the state and the federal level that Ventura County is just a beacon. And that's huge because you have 58 counties in California. And to say how the different departments work together, fire and police, to public works, is a very huge strength and really great for people. So I could talk all day about Ventura County. But thank you very much for listening and your engagement in the county. If there's anything we can do again, thank you. Does anyone have any questions? I'm done, right? I solved all the problems. Yes, please.
Hi, Kelly.
Hi.
What are some of the things that were learned from the Thomas Fire and Woolsey fire challenges for the county?
For the county, our OES team, and what we do is we run what's it called? What we do is we look at everything that happened and what we can do better. So, for example, emergency services setups are good. Making sure you know where all the wells are, really important. How shutoffs are, or pumps, how they're working, important. Evacuations, we worked on evacuations, making sure you don't, when CAL FIRE first came here, they're like, evacuate all. We're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. We don't want to evacuate all because you can get evacuation fatigue. Setting up systems where we know exactly where those are. Pushing 211 more and VC alert, getting people to be prepared. That has been top of mind, and which we're really pushing, is ensuring that people are prepared for the next disaster. I think that's what we all should be doing, because it's going to be an earthquake, or it's going to be something. You can't say that disasters never happen. That would be like putting your head in the sand and not thinking anything's going on. So how do we prepare our communities, and especially the different ages or mobilities? So I think that was one of the biggest things that we did. And also our partnership, we have a really strong partnership with the state and federals now that we use at the next time. I walk into a room and everyone's waving, hey Kelly, how's it going? You know, those communications and those networking is really important for our community. So that's what I would say are some of our lessons learned. We do have on our website with BC Recovers, that is all the information and how to do better the next time. Anyone know? John?
Any comments on the issue with Clinicus and Gold Coast Health?
Yes. So on those issues, I know that Clinicus wants to have 2 different plans. And so Ventura County is stating that the Gold Coast is the program that started in 2011 is doing a great job. But there might be a difference of opinion. And so Clinicus is looking at trying to go to the state level and do it. I understand our local electeds have stated that they don't want to. So, but it is a business, and they have every right to try and do another plan if they want. And so I think it's on the state legislation that they have to do that. They can't just one day say, hey, I want to do this. Because it's a 2 plan, and then where the money comes from the state and so forth, you have to have that. Yes?
Kelly, I noticed an item that you had up there, that we spend $150 million on an impact study annually in Channel Islands Harbor. What is all that money going to, as far as the impact study? Or if I put funds behind it?
No, I don't know the details on that one. I do know that I don't know if that it's every year. I don't believe it's every year.
Oh, it said annually.
Annually. Well, I'll have to look into that one. But I do know that we're always looking. Steve, you know? Okay, answer.
The $150 million was the economic impact of the harbor in the community.
Yeah.
It's not what the study came out. So every year, the harbor generates $150 million.
There you go. So we're not spending, we're earning.
Sure.
Thank you.
Kelly, can you talk a little more about the give and take between the county and the city of Oxnard regarding fishing sport?
That is
What's going to happen? How long is it going to take?
that has been going on for 15 years.
Yes.
That they've had design after design. And so we're really hoping that we can come to some type of compromise that would be for the best interest. We're working with the city of Oxnard right now. We've had competitive meetings to try to solve this situation. It's going to the Coastal Commission. We're working with the Coastal Commission kind of like as a mediator to do all that they are asking us to do and work with the city of Oxnard. I think with the new city manager, that's going to be helpful. Because I'm hoping he's going to stay a while so we can make the steps we need to make, right? Sometimes just putting a new person in breaks it up and things don't work out. So I'm hopeful and that it will go. If you saw, I just put a vote in to spend the $500,000 for bathrooms and for cleanup. Personally, I think public health is there. Could you imagine if you're a parent and you're at the beach, Kitty Beach, and you can't use the facility? Like, I don't think that's okay. But I don't think it's okay to defer payment to the county to have to take that responsibility. So we need to get a partnership of it and how it goes. And the tax money goes to Oxnard, but they're not fixing it. So we need to figure out the agreement there and make it work best for our community. Because the harbor is not just in the city of Oxnard. It is a harbor for all of our communities. And so one person might gain, the others are going to lose. And I don't want people from Port Hueneme not being able to use the harbor or have, the bathrooms or so forth. So that's a big concern for us. And so we're diligently working on it as best as we can. So if we can get city council members together, tell them how important it is for you guys. Work with them, and we will do the same.
I have a question, Laura. Can you elaborate a little bit more on the Clean Power Alliance and how that was, what we've learned from the rollout countywide and how the cities are participating or not participating?
Yes, there are some cities that are not participating in it. It wasn't cost effective to them, they believed. Others are stating that they want an initiative of energy, and so they want to state that they're 100%. There's others that want a balance. So there's like Camarillo is at I think 36%, which gives a community member, if they didn't, how everything is, like 10% of people actually change something versus just continue with what service is there. So they have saved in cost savings and then also cleaner energy, which is based 36%, I believe, is similar to what SCE is doing currently. 50% is better than SCE, but still at like a 0 to 2%. And then the 100% clean energy is at, I think, a 9% cost. So each person has to look at those costs. And you have a choice. You can opt out and go to SCE, but what they're trying to do is lump together to buy clean energy, and which is better for the environment and so forth. But each person, I think, has to do that decision for themselves, because some people are very much want to pay for it, others can't want it, but they can't afford it. So like a 50% is actually, you're doing good for the environment plus a savings if you're on a tight budget. So it's for each choice. The county has chosen to do 100%. And so our facilities, I think it's around $750,000, which is now going to be spent more on energy to be part of that. Some of us, myself included, worry where can that money be spent? Is it on the area of aging? Is it on homelessness? There's always you cut a pie budget in many different ways, so how do you want to spend it? But our board made the approval for the 100% is going forward with that. Anyone else? Yes.
I apologize for being late, and I'm a first timer, so I may be totally out of the loop on this conversation. But what is known or not known about the odor?
What is known or not known about the odor? We have had public health go out there and make sure that it is not a public health issue. And I understand that they are working with the company to get a resolution. I haven't heard what the final solution is. There's also a noise issue, from what I understand, noise and smell. And so I know we have our city manager here shaking his head. Yes, we're working on that one, along with the city of Oxnard to figure out how to stop it.
You say the company, so a source is known?
Yeah, there are two primary sources. One is the City of Oxnard Regional Wastewater Treatment Plant, which water waste from Port Hueneme does go there, as well as from the Navy and from the City of Oxnard. So that's been a long-term source of odor. The noise and the potential second odor is coming from the new Indy paper plant, which is there right across the street from the wastewater plant on Perkins Road. So it seems like those are the two primary sources.
I think I know who to ask any further questions of. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And it is a city issue. It's hard sometimes to defer what is a county issue versus a city issue. We will help our community and our constituents get to the right person when it's in the city, but we don't want to overstep our job versus the jobs of the cities as to who's dealing with it.
Sure.
I think we need to take credit also, though, one of the bullets you had here this morning was libraries in the county. And the county was very instrumental in funding a football that is going to be serving underserved areas throughout Ventura County. And it's really important. That football bill is going to be on the road, I believe, April or May of this year. And again, very important contribution from the county that made that happen. Second, the county also was involved in a reading program at the juvenile detention center now. Brand new, helping these kids learn how to read. They might be there a couple of days, maximum a couple of weeks. How can you reach these kids quickly? And there's a program up and running because of the county. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. And we're also bringing pets in, getting the pets, as we know, to soothe them, to calm them down, and then to educate and to read at the same time. We do have a lot of programs. I just want to let you also know, we have an intergovernmental service agreement now, first time in the nation with the Navy base. We pushed that hard since I've been here to ensure that we can do fleet vehicles. And on the RDP 20, I'm on like 19 commissions. So I'm sorry if I breathe over things. But on the RDP 21 is crucial for our economy of the Navy base here. And what RDP 21 is Regional Defense Program for 21st Century Technology. And many of you are here today, and I really appreciate that partnership because those in DC listen to us. They know that the community cares about the Navy base. They know that their employees are in our neighborhoods and that we appreciate the business that they were doing. So intergovernment service agreements are something that we're talking about. I know with John Sharkey was there last year. We were talking about what city programs we could do with them. And we'll be back up in DC in a month or so to work on that. And that would benefit the Port of Hueneme as well. So we're really getting in there to not have a state contract, but get our local control back on the Navy base. So that was good too. Anyone else? All right, I thank you again. I'm going to pass the mic over to Tracy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kelly. It's always a pleasure. I want to give a quick shout out to Bob Allen from KADY-TV, who is here today taping. I don't believe we're live streaming, but he is going to be rebroadcasting this. So for your friends who couldn't make it this morning, or if you'd like to, in casual conversation, mention that somebody missed something, then you can start to pick it up on KADYTV.com.